Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. A little different. We're doing the shared mic sessions. What is this? Okay, well, I get to go on podcast as a guest, and it's so much fun that I want to share these episodes with you because some of these have been a while ago, and you probably have never heard me as a guest. You hear me as a host here all the time. You're like, well, what if Dave was a guest? What would that sound like? Well, this is me on a podcast, and I wanted to share it with you. As part of our daily episodes in 2026, it's a chance to hear me on another show. I hope you're ready for this. Are you? Okay, so I don't get a chance to do a lot of firsts in life. It doesn't come around often, especially in podcasting, but this was a first for me. I was invited onto Richard's podcast. It's called Make Your Day Richer. It's really fun because it's got his name in it. Richard Wilmore is the host, and I didn't even really realize it fully at the moment when we recorded, but I was his very first guest ever on his brand new show. And I love being the first guest ever on a podcast. And Richard is such a great guy. I love everything that he does. He's just so creative and so wonderful. One of the nicest people you're ever going to meet. So Richard had me on his show. And if you go to YouTube and watch the video of this, it's really interesting. And I'll put a link in the show notes because the way he frames everything visually on the screen, if you can picture this, think of your typical like nightly comedy night show, right? Late night TV show where the guest comes out, sits on a chair next to the desk and the mic and the host is behind the desk. Similar, except here virtually, I was joining him virtually and he had me, my screen, my image was on a pic, like behind me was a television and I was on the TV perched on top of the chair in the image on the screen. So it looked like I was on TV on his show in a chair. It's quite unique, quite interesting. So I had to like scooch over and position myself so I was center of the television on the screen, which was really fun. But yeah, Richard and I had a great conversation. This podcast and Richard, not because of me at all, not at all because of me, because of Richard, because he's just that creative. This show went on to do really, really well. And Richard had an amazing guest on his podcast, on his video podcast, and he just took it to a whole new level. So go check it out. There's a link in the show notes. Go watch the video, even if you watch just part of it, because then you'll see what I'm trying to explain. It's just a great podcast, a great thing for Richard pulled together. So here we go. There's Dave on Make Your Day Richer with Richard Wilmore. First guest. Yeah, first guest. Here we go.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Welcome to Make Your Day Richer. I'm your host, Richard Wilmore, and I feel like I am in like an artist, like I'm an art teacher in this thing, like I should have paintbrushes and things. And I can pretend that someone else picked this out for me, but I 100% did it myself. And now I'm not sure how comfortable I feel in it, but whatever. Welcome to the show, everyone. This show is, I guess, an offshoot of the Richard Wilmore Show. The Richard Wilmore Show was a show I did from 2016 to 2022, and it was all entertainment and arts-based. And we had artists, musicians, comedians, actors, authors, all kinds of fun stuff, clowns. It was a really fun time. It was once a week. And you know what? I bought a rug a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, and that inspired Make Your Day Richer TV. Make Your Day Richer is a company that I own, and we do podcast production and management, and then we also book podcast guests. And I thought I want a show again to make people's day richer. And this show is going to be interviews with some amazing, amazing people that I think you should meet, ranging anywhere from podcast hosts to people who have done amazing things in their lives to help others, to help themselves, and then hopefully to help you. And you can walk away every day feeling a little bit better about life, and maybe a tip on how to make yours better, something you can do starting today that will make your day better. So that's what that's all about. And my day is better because you're here. It's also Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. And have fun out there celebrating. Be safe. Be kind to one another. I moved to the Charlotte area last year. We're coming up on a year of living here. And Charlotte's Pride is in August. So I'll be there. Maybe we'll do some behind the scenes stuff there. I'm going to be in the parade, and it's going to be really fun. So no matter what month you're celebrating or where you're celebrating, make sure you're safe and you're having a really good time. It is also June 10th, 1996. If this was in 1996 today, it would be the premiere of the Rosie O'Donnell Show. And yes, I know. You can keep clapping for a minute. Because I would be and am every day. She uploads her episodes to YouTube now, her YouTube channel. So you get to go back and watch all those people. And what's interesting is, like, it was 30 years ago? Is that what that is? I think. And some of the people she had on it, like children who are now super famous actors and people in the entertainment industry. And it's so interesting to go back that far in time and see people getting their start on her show, and what that show did to so many people, including myself. And it gave me life, and I am forever indebted to her. That's her right here. It's a Burger King toy. And so this really is a tribute to her and a thank you to her for keeping me alive. Yeah. So there's that. Okay. We have a really good show today. David Campbell is here, who I love. I met him a couple weeks ago. I was on his podcast, and we also just had a meeting kind of about podcasting. And what I love about him is he's such a champion for podcasts and shows like this. And that's why I wanted to have him come on here today, because he has 8 shows. One of them is actually only 25 days before Christmas, and it's live with like Santa every day. So it's really cute. So if you have kids, it'd be a great podcast to listen to leading up to Christmas. But he hosts these shows, and some of them are for you to meet people, but some of them are really like how-to and tips and tricks for podcasting, which I appreciate. Podcasting can be really fun and it can be easy, but it can also be difficult to do when you're doing it all yourself. And he's just kind of an open book and there to help people create good content, which I feel like I can relate to and love. And so I have him here today, and he's going to talk all about that and all the things he's doing. And you should look him up because he's so good. truemediasolutions.ca is his website, but he's going to talk all about that and all of his podcasts. You can learn and meet so many amazing people through him, and reach out to him if you have questions. Okay. So this is our first show, and we're going to be live for the most part, Monday through Friday, every day, 10 Eastern. Today we're not live though, however, because I am flying back right now from Wisconsin. I was in Wisconsin over the weekend. My grandma had a birthday, and she's in her 90s. And so we went back to see her, and I'll tell you all about that little adventure in northern Wisconsin. I don't know if any of you have been there before, but it's a world in and of itself. And so I'll fill you in on my grandma's 93rd birthday. I don't know if she'd want me to tell you how old she is. I'll have to ask her. I mean, I did by this time, but I'll tell you tomorrow how that trip to Wisconsin, and we'll be live tomorrow on our first live show. All right, that's enough of me. Let's get to David Campbell. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with David after this. It's premiere week on Make Your Day Richer with Richard Wilmore, featuring Ashley and Becky, the hosts of the podcast Two Girls with Cancer. Self-esteem regime author Clarissa Burt, grief blogger Jason Tuttle, the LinkedIn cheerleader Aqua Cant, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern starting June 10th. Hi, everyone. We're back with David Campbell. David, thank you so much for being here.
It is great to be on the TV with you. This is amazing.
On the TV.
On the TV, yeah.
A little matrix happening. You wanted, first of all, if you don't know David's like the king of podcast love. I think no one loves podcasting, the podcasting journey, podcasting hosting, all of the above. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on here, because I love how you celebrate the world of podcasting and telling stories. How did you get into that?
I just love podcasting. I'm a musician. I've been doing it for many years, doing editing for my own music. And when I pressed play on my first podcast, I thought I would be annoyed by listening to somebody yammer away in my ear as I'm trying to do something. But I fell in love with it right away. And
what year was that? Do you remember?
That's been like 5 or 6 years ago now.
Okay.
And I've been doing that. Yeah. So I just thought, hey, I'll give it a try. And because I'm doing editing for music, I already have all the gear. I'm like, why not? Why not do this? So come up with a concept for a show idea and off we go.
Wow. And it's been like nonstop since. Have you ever taken a break? How's your schedule with podcast hosting? And do you have seasons? How do you do that?
I don't have seasons. I do at least one episode a week. I have 8 different podcasts that I host. And 2 of my podcasts have episodes that release 3 times a week. And last November was National Podcast Post Month. And the idea is that we're supposed to release an episode a day for the entire month of November. So 2 of my 8 podcasts released 30 episodes each in 1 month. That's 60 episodes total in 1 month. So, yeah.
How do you, when you're planning all of these, how do you decide which shows are every day, which shows are once a week? Like, what's your thought process behind that when you're planning shows?
So one of my podcasts, for example, is called the Daily Santa Podcast. It's only in December, and it's a countdown for kids. It's a kids podcast, countdown to Christmas with 25 episodes in a row. So technically, that podcast is alive, and you can listen to it anytime, but it's most active in December. So that's one of my 8 as an example. So that's not releasing every week. My 2 podcasts that release 3 times a week, I have so much content and so many great people to talk to that to limit it down to 1 a week would be, I would have episodes done for the long into the future. For that podcast, I talk to 25 people a week in pre-interviews and interviews just for the 2 podcasts, the How to Podcast series and Living the Next Chapter. So,
and just note that the 8 podcasts are not David's full-time thing that he's doing. You are somehow fitting all of this outside of a full-time job.
So we're recording now like 11 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since yesterday, 9 p.m. yesterday. So I've had no sleep. I have lots of coffee, which really works. So
cheers
to
that.
Here we go. Yes. So here's our coffee. So so that's kind of my fuel.
Well, you look very good for being up since yesterday.
Thank you.
Why is it important for you to get stories out there? I know storytelling is a huge thing for you. I think everybody should have a podcast because I feel like everybody has a story to tell and things to say. But why is it important for you to give a space for people to have a voice and to help with podcasts?
I think that there's some mystique around podcasting where people don't really know what it's like to be a podcaster or be a guest on a podcast. Mm-hmm. When I meet some of these people, a lot of the people I meet on my show have never been on a show before. They've never listened to a podcast, and they're coming on to be a guest. And I get to be the joyful person who opens the doors of podcasting to them and help them share their message. Again, I want people to feel confident that their voice matters, that they might not have a platform before podcasting as a guest or as a host, that this is a great way to share your message. And there's somebody out there that resonates with you. And if you don't share your story, no one else is going to take your place because you're the only you. So if I can bring that out in conversation through a podcast, it's the most rewarding thing ever. And the connections I've made in podcasting have been amazing. I have time in people's calendar that I should never have time in their calendar. No way.
You should be on everyone's calendar because you have so much information. I met with you a couple of weeks ago, last week, and I am still going through all the notes of everything that I learned from you and just our little meeting that we had. Do you have some tips for, I want to start with like podcast guests, like tips for podcast guests, like a couple things that they should think about.
From a guest perspective?
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to be a guest on a podcast, one of the things I would suggest to you is to do your homework on the show, because the show might not be a good fit for you as the guest. And you don't want to do something that's going to eat up some of your time in your calendar for maybe not the best result. So listening to the show, checking out all the social media and all that information is going to give you a good idea of the flavor of the show. Is the host super serious? Are they lighthearted? Is it casual? Is it tense? And does that fit for you as a guest? Because you want to make sure you're on the right podcast.
And what about, I talk to podcast guests, like soon to be guests, or I find shows for them to go on, that sometimes they are surprised at the shows I find for them because they're not necessarily, let's say it's a life coach and I book them on something that's not a coaching podcast, and kind of, I don't know, spreading your wings a little bit and maybe categories that you might not think you would normally go on.
Yeah. So like if you're in the health space, then maybe something to do with sports and how living a healthy lifestyle can blend in with sports. You can think beyond the confines of what your topic is. And those adjacent things are always nice because that opens up the door for another new audience to come and find you.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about the host side? What are your, as I'm taking notes, let me throw the pen.
This is being recorded for quality, so you'll have that as well. So from a host perspective, I love to meet everybody ahead of time and chat and get to know them before we record. It's a little extra step for the guest and for me as the host, but it gives me a good quality conversation at the end of the day when we get to the recording part. So that's what I do. Not everybody does that, and you don't have to. There's really no rules, right? For me, it works. So I get the investment of 2 times with my guest, every guest, which is really helpful. I would say what I like to say to my guests is, I know you do a lot of shows. I know you've been on other podcasts. What would you like to talk about that's different from all the other things you've done? That's in your library. That's great content you've already done. Let's do something different. And by opening that door to my guest, there's a chance for us to do something special. Yesterday, I had Adam Nimoy on my podcast. His dad is Leonard Nimoy, a.k.a. Spock. So Adam wrote a book about his father. And when I listened to other episodes where Adam was interviewed, it was all about his dad. It was all about Spock. It was all about Star Trek. And not much about Adam.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, there's my insight. There's my angle with him. And I also noticed that there's a musical thread through his family. So not only we did do a little bit of the nerding out on Star Trek at the beginning, because of course I love it. And we want to honor his father. But I noticed that he never talks about the music elements in his family. He doesn't get to go down that path. So when I was able to bring those out in the questioning, in the time together, he lit up because he got to talk about something new. His community never hears him talk about that. And most likely, he's more willing to share something new with his community than the same interview recycled 100 times. So I like to go somewhere different. So as a host, do your homework and be a good human being to your guests. Honor them and give them the chance to talk without talking over them. You need to be quiet and let them speak.
Yeah, listening is a huge thing when it comes to having someone and actually carrying on like a real conversation with someone. You have to listen, and that might also spark another question that you didn't think you had if you actually listened to someone.
Right, and it's easier to edit too if you don't talk over your guests. So there you go. That's a little bonus. That's
so true. Where do you think podcasting has changed a lot since you've started doing it? Where do you see it evolving in the next couple of years at all into something else? Or how do you see this space?
I just see more things being added onto the brand of podcasting. We have YouTube. We have all these different things now that we can do to increase what podcasting is. Traditionally, it's been through audio, and it's been through all those apps that we listen to, Apple and Spotify. But there's more people coming to podcasting from a listening perspective and a viewing perspective, which is increasing our definition of what podcasts are. And at the end of the day, podcasting has always been meant to be the freedom to share your voice and your message with the world without any constraints. So anybody that stands up and says that you can't call podcasting A, B, or C is standing in the way of podcasting. So I think we need to be open to where we're going in the future and embrace it, because it's going to mean more people are going to find your content. And that's kind of the point of podcasting.
Yeah. Is there anything that you think someone needs to have before they start?
A good reason for why you're doing it. That's it, really, because that's going to keep you motivated to continue. If you don't know why you're doing this, and it's just something that's catching your interest in the moment, you might not stick with it for the long term. And keep in mind that a podcast doesn't have to be 3,000 episodes for the next 10 years. No, a podcast can be 5 episodes where you talk about a topic and you're done. Yeah. And you can move on to a new topic. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of space in podcasting.
Do you ever take time away from them?
I do batch record, which means I'm recording a bunch of episodes in a row ahead of time. I could take my hands off the wheel right now as a podcaster with all my shows, and you wouldn't even know that I'm not active because they're already preloaded all the way into the end of July. I could just take a break. I could walk away. So that's why I don't have seasons, because I have all my episodes preloaded and they just go out on a regular basis with or without me. It's all set up behind the scenes. So to my audience, I'm active, but I could be sitting on a beach somewhere because I've done my work ahead of time.
Yeah. Or you're at work.
Or I'm at work or trying to sleep or drink coffee. Yes.
Yes. Every once in a while, you should sleep. Where can people watch and listen to all of your shows?
Yeah, the best place to find it, my umbrella for everything that I do as my opening door to come and be a part of what I'm doing, is truemediasolutions.ca. I'm in Canada. So truemediasolutions.ca has a list of all of the podcasts that I do and also the podcasts that I do for other people as far as editing and things like that.
What do you want people to take away from this interview today?
There is no one else that can do your show. Your podcast is your podcast. You are the only you, and I can't copy you. I can do something similar to what you talk about, but I can't be you. And your audience is going to come for you and stay because of you. I have people who listen to my show not because of what I talk about, but because of how I talk, which is interesting. I had somebody say, I don't listen to your show for the content. I feel like you and I are friends. I just love listening to your voice. You could talk about anything. Read me a recipe or the back of the cereal box. I'll come listen because I'm connecting with you, which all my hard work of making content feels a little weird because I'm putting a lot of effort, but
when it really doesn't even matter what you're saying. Yeah.
I can talk about anything. They're still coming back. And that's an amazing relationship to have that kind of connection with your audience. And it can happen for you. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to go to school for this. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It just comes down to you having a good idea of why you want to do a podcast, and all the rest of it is simple from there. It just takes a little bit of coaching, a little bit of time with someone who's doing it, and there's a lot of great people in the space who can help you.
Yeah, it's like art, right? Like it doesn't have to be expensive. You don't need an entire room for it. You can do it right in your house. I've done it in the corner of a bedroom, and I've done it in studios. So you can do it wherever it fits.
Yeah. Your why is going to direct everything that you do. So having a good, clear picture of that is really going to set you up for success as a podcaster.
David, I want to thank you for being such a champion for podcasting and being so open for discussion of things that work and don't work and your tips and stuff. I think oftentimes in this space, people don't like to share because they want to be they want to have the coolest thing on their show, but I love that you are open and you're talking about it and you're helping everybody do it, because it can be a really easy and fun thing, but it can also be really difficult to do all of the different elements. And you love to teach people how to do all of it. And I appreciate that.
One of my challenges I ask all new podcasters is, what is the minimum number of people you would podcast for? When we go into these Facebook groups and online, it's like, I've got 100,000 listeners. I've been podcasting for 5 minutes. You're like, oh, I can't compete with that. Like, I have 2 people. I have 1 person listening. And for me, I love to the fact that maybe 1 person's going to hear an episode and it's going to spark something for them that's going to lead to a change in their life, which is going to have a ripple effect throughout their family, through their relationships with their children, at work. They're going to see life differently because they heard about something on a podcast that changed something for them. It was a little key that unlocked something that they wouldn't have found otherwise. That means more to me than 100,000 people that I'll never meet listening to my podcast. I want success. I want it to grow, but I'm really focused on the 1. So my minimum number of podcast listeners that I would show up for is 1. And I truly mean that, because that 1 person could change the world just from something that comes from my show.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first started mine in 2016, I uploaded and then every 5 minutes looking how many views. And it was stressing me out. And then it wasn't as many as I thought it was. And I really had to change my thought of like, well, the people who need to see this are going to find it and see it. And so whether or not it has 1 million or it has 12, like those 12 people got something out of it. And that's really all that mattered to me.
Before we go, one last quote for you that really shapes how I do podcasting. It's around the idea of an apple. You can cut open an apple and you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed. So even if 1 person listens to your podcast, and again, that 1 person has a change in their life, it saves a life, it changes their perspective and then has a ripple effect like we talked about. You can't measure the results of your podcast beyond the 1 listen. And some people give up when they have 1 listen. But what if that 1 person is different because of you? I think that's worth continuing in podcasting. So don't be discouraged by low numbers. Celebrate the small, grow the community, love on those people who show up for you because they're showing up for you. So that's really important in podcasting. Don't worry about the big numbers. It'll come. It'll happen in the future. Just show up and do your thing.
And I just realized why you were so nice. It's because you're Canadian. That's why you're so open to it. Those of us down here probably don't want to do that. Now I get it.
There you go.
Now I get it. truemediasolutions.ca is David's website. Thank you so much for being here.
I love being up here on the chair, on the TV, in the TV, on the chair. This is so cool.
Is it like some sort of weird throne kind of?
I feel really propped up here. I do. As long as you don't turn the channel on me, I'm good.
I won't. I'm going to try to figure out how I can get a remote to do that when we're done. And then it goes to like the static is my next goal on how to do this.
I love it.
David Campbell, everybody. We'll be right back. It's premiere week on Make Your Day Richer with Richard Wilmore, featuring Ashley and Becky, the hosts of the podcast 2 Girls with Cancer. Self-esteem regime author Clarissa Burt. Grief blogger Jason Tuttle. The LinkedIn cheerleader Aqua Kant. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern starting June 10th. That's our show, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with episode 2. And we've got Becky and Ashley here, who are 2 people you are going to want to tune in for. They were both diagnosed with cancer over this last year, and they have quite a story. One of them is an incurable cancer, and they've started a podcast called 2 Girls with Cancer, and they're going to talk all about that and their stories. So you don't want to miss that. Have a great day, everybody. I love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
So there you go. A guest on Richard's show. So great to be with him and to be a part of the launch of his new endeavor back in the day. And again, he's on to new and bigger things, which is great. But hey, if you get the opportunity to be on somebody's show, somebody reaches out to you. Here's my challenge for you as a podcaster. Somebody reaches out to you and says, I got this brand new show idea. I'm thinking about starting something. Would you be a guest on my show? Don't be like that type of person who says, well, how many listeners do you have? How many viewers do you have? Stop with that. Say yes, because you have no idea what's going to happen with this person. And I had no idea when I met Richard, the amazing success that he'd have. I knew he'd be successful because he's a very great guy. He's just super. But I had no idea what this show would become. And again, nothing to do with me. I was thrilled to be one of the people to say yes in the early days of his show. So please, when people reach out to you, don't treat people like they have to earn your time. Be generous with your time. Help a fellow podcaster. If we all did this, I think podcasting would be so much better. Let's support the new podcasters out there. And if you're starting your show right now, just like Richard did, and I was a guest for him, I'd love to be a guest for you. Reach out to me anytime at howtopodcast.ca and let me come on your show. I'd love to support you and help you launch your podcast as a guest or behind the scenes to get you set up everywhere. Reach out to me at howtopodcast.ca. Talk soon. You're still here. Amazing. Okay. I was working with a podcaster this week, and they were saying that nobody was responding to their calls to action. This is the little part that you put in your podcast where you ask the audience to do something like buy me a coffee or leave me a message on SpeakPipe or send me a DM, send me an email, sign up for my newsletter, whatever that is, right? Your call to action. I prefer pathway to engagement over call to action. Call to action is very markety. It's kind of marketing 101, and podcasting is a little bit different than marketing. So anyway, whatever you wish to call it, CTA or pathway to engagement, PTE, I'm leaning towards pathway to engagement. Whatever you use, I was asking him, where did he place that call to action or pathway to engagement within his content? And he said, well, I would, at the end of my show, at the end of my episode, I'd say, well, that's it for today. Thank you for being here. As we wrap up, I just want to, and then he went into his call to action, his next step. And I just let him know that that's probably, people have probably already left before you even got to ask the audience to do anything. When we talk about people being engaged with your podcast, generally, in general terms, a very tiny portion of your audience will ever respond to anything you do. 1, 2, 3% of your audience will ever reach out to you and do the thing that you're asking people to do. So keep that in mind. And what makes it even harder is not everybody listens to every episode to the end. So by placing your call to action, your action step, your next logical step at the very, very, very end of your show, there's a good chance many people aren't going to hear it. Many people aren't doing this little bonus thing at the end like I'm doing right now. And I can only anticipate a very small number of people are even going to hear this. But I'm doing this on purpose to bring people along in the episode and give value even at the very end. You might want to move your call to action, pathway to engagement, a little further into the podcast, more the middle, near the middle to the late to the end, somewhere there instead of at the very, very end. And then see and monitor and see if it gives you better engagement just simply by moving it around and then monitoring. It's like, well, how do I monitor, Dave? Well, you go into your Apple backend and you go into your Spotify backend. And if you're on YouTube, which you should be, on your YouTube, YouTube's going to make you very sad. When you see your retention data, which is how long people listen to your episode, Apple, Spotify can actually break down per episode your engagement levels and where people started and where people dropped off. You want to get them to listen longer. So if you notice that your audience, in let's say a 30-minute episode, your audience leaves at the 15-minute mark, you might want to do your call to action at the 12-minute mark, 10-minute mark before they leave. And that might give you a better engagement. So look at your retention rates if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Reach out to me. We can do a screen share, walk you through it. I'll show you my screen share, and I'm not going to hide anything from you. I'll show exactly what's happening for me. And we can look at yours as well if you're already set up. So let me know. Love to help you. howtopodcast.ca. Move your call to action a little bit sooner. You might get a better response. Go try it. You can't break anything. All you can do is succeed. We're going to get better, you and I. Let's do it together. Talk soon.